Good morning, everyone. This is Captain Calhoun speaking. You're on the lifeboat. Hello, YouTube. Good morning. Here, hold on. I just poured this cup. I need this hot sustenance in my mouth. Give me just a minute. It's so good. Oh, it's so hot still. Ow. Oh, okay. Heck yeah, guys. Good morning. Welcome in. It is Wednesday. Some hump day magic for you. I was talking with the Admiral yesterday and this morning, and synthetic drug substitutes came up, like spice, like kratom. I was trying to brainstorm some other ones. I was going to put Delta 8 in here, but that's not necessarily synthetic. It's just what they do to create the Delta 8 that we're buying that makes it synthetic and dangerous. So that's kind of on the list, but I guess we're going to talk a little bit about spice today. Maybe some kratom, maybe some Delta 8. Sarah Browett, hello. Good to see you. Tina Marie, Charlie Mullins, Flick Fox, Shannon Smith, good morning. Welcome in. Hump Day Magic. That's that Wednesday stuff. Shannon Smith, Candy's Life, good morning. Flick Fox, Millie the Dandelion. What's going on? Working and lurking. Love it. Love it a lot. Coconut latte, Puka Vista. That sounds delightful. Kathy Ann, hello. Beta. Beta, beta, beta. Yo, cooking with grandma. Good morning. Robin Miners. Hello, hello. The newest nut. Carry on. I'm doing some scrolling. Heck yeah, guys. It's going to be a good day. I can tell. I can feel it. I can feel it. I think I'm going to go to my flow jam tomorrow. It's time. Can't not go any longer. Although I will say, bringing my staff on the bus is lame. I'm going to have to do it anyways. It's okay. I'll get over it. I will literally get over it. I'm not a baby cow, I'm a baby coconut. So, yeah, let's talk some spice and some synthetic drugs. It's interesting. Something happens when it's federally illegal, but it is also legal some states, restricted legality in some states, and illegal in some states. So there's wide-ranging legalities in the U.S. on weed, state to state, and federally it's illegal. So that's kind of a mix-up. Is it legal? Is it not? Well, now so that's kind of like a big old loophole. Then insert entrepreneurs, venture capitalists that want to take some money and make a bunch more money out of it. Well, you can exploit this loophole by creating K2, creating Delta 8, creating, I don't know, I think kratom was discovered. I don't know if it was created. Regardless, there is a space now for these things to be lucrative, for these things to make money, right? Because there are people that just because it's federally illegal aren't going to smoke pot, or maybe you do smoke pot, but now you're on probation, so you don't really want legal ramifications of popping a hot drug test, right? So what are you going to do? You might go smoke some K2. You might go get some gas station weed, right? Or some Delta 8, but we'll get to Delta 8 later. Um, K2 is chemicals sprayed on potpourri. It is chemicals sprayed on plant matter. So you're not getting high off the plants at all. You're getting high off literal chemicals that they spray onto this stuff. I was talking to my dad about it, and he said in prison, they don't bother with the smoke and mirrors, and they just spray it on paper. So you're just smoking paper if you are doing K2 in prison. Because again, there's no need for the illusion of it being real, which is the point of spraying it on plants, right? I don't know if you've ever seen K2, this spice stuff, but you can buy it at the gas station or the head shop. And it's marketed as basically as gas station weed, but it can look similar and it can look dissimilar. I've seen a very wide range of different spices. I've smoked quite a bit of it myself. Um, what else can we say about this stuff? It's also interesting. This stuff came out when I was young, when I was 18 or 17. Like it's been around for a long time. I remember being faced with the option of smoking it when I was on probation, right? Which was, I was very young when that happened. So it's been around for a while. Through its lifetime, it has gone through quite a few changes. I mean, when you are a rogue entrepreneur selling fake drugs that are potentially dangerous, you might have to cover your tracks. You might have to run around and change your format, change your how you're creating it, change what exactly it looks like, change the chemical composition. There's no quality check system, right? So there's nothing to guarantee that every batch is the same, every same ingredients, same quality, same amount, right? Regardless. What is the attraction of this versus just weed, says Tina Marie? I think it's the legal standpoint, strictly. There might be some other factors, but I mean, imagine you're an avid pot smoker. It helps you get through the day, maybe, perhaps. And then you're legally told that you can't, right? So you're on probation or something. So you have to report to a probation officer frequently and probably take random drug tests. And hypothetically, if you're in that position and then you piss hot, if you have a hot drug test for weed, it could spell very, very big legal ramifications for you. You could do jail time. You could lose your job. You could really shake things up. So that being said, I think that's a huge draw, knowing that you're not going to get in any legal trouble for smoking the stuff, right? Well, I mean, you're trading legal trouble for serious health issues. This stuff is not. I've seen people seize up in front of me while smoking in a circle, smoking this stuff. He lived, but regardless, I mean, you don't want to be just smoking with your buds and all of a sudden you're having a seizure. Your friends may or may not know what to do in that situation. I'm pretty sure that swallowing the tongue is the big nervousness, is the big fear there. So, if you got to stick your fingers in your homie's mouth, don't get them bit off. But, anyways, that being said, Lisa Trimble, good to see ya. V. McWilliams, lurking and learning. Incarnasoul, TKK. Helena, flock of swan boats, I love your name. Teresa Baldessari, hello, hello. Also a very fun name to say. I love it when words just kind of roll off the tongue. Miss Sunrise Dawn. Good to see you. Glad you're here. All right, all right, all right, all right. Good morning, Scoob. Scooby Dooby Doo. Where to from here? Where to from here? So there's this like legal loophole, right? People are making money, hand over fist, selling this fake weed. Why are we talking about it? Well, it's dangerous. It's dangerous, and I don't know a lot of adults that use it. I'm sure that adults use it, but your kids could be using this stuff. When I was a kid, it was quite popular. The word on the street gets around pretty quick, in school as a youngster, in the circles, and the K2 spice word spread pretty quickly when I was young. And the word spread and changed. At first it's like, oh, this is legal, and it's like weed. And then people start using it for a while, and you come to find out adverse side effects. You start to learn about horror stories, um, and there's plenty of that to go around. I'm surprised that the government is still allowing it to happen. I imagine that it probably benefits them in some way to do so monetarily. The whole weed legality thing is such a mess. It's really hard to. I'm sure it's hard to regulate synthetic cannabinoids, which spice is not a cannabinoid. It like is talked about as such, but nothing about it has anything to do with the cannabis family, the cannabinoid family. Nothing inside it comes from a cannabis plant. Nothing in it is natural. 100% synthetic. I mean, you're smoking actual plants, right? I don't know if they're just grabbing potpourri or just sticks and leaves and stuff, but that's the only part of it that's not synthetic, and that's not a psychoactive bit at all. Mixed bag of donuts. Hello, welcome in. Keep losing my place. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And kratom kind of falls into the same loophole, right? It's not created in well, I guess I don't know how kratom's created. I imagine it's just crushed roots or something of that nature, right? But that being said, um, as far as the legal loophole, right? It's kind of synthetic version of a couple different drugs, depending on how much of a dose you're taking it, right? It can be a stimulant and it can also be quite opioid like, depending on the dose of kratom you're taking. But the point is it's not illegal. But the things that it's imitating, or the things that it can be used to imitate, are illegal, or you need a prescription to get, right? So that being said, I think that this loophole, this legality thing, this federal versus state, this, there's regulation overarching, but then there's no like, there's no squad attacking what's happening like in the moment, if that makes sense, right? We have a big umbrella rule, but then there's still room to move around inside and sell fake versions of things, which, the only reason I care is because it's dangerous. The only reason I care is because it's hurting my loved ones. The only reason I care is because, my loved ones' kids are smoking it. You know what I mean? That's literally the only reason I care. The fact that they're, getting around some legal whatever like that's fine. Whatever. Do what you do. I'm not in charge of the world. I'm not here to police people's good and bad behavior. But I will say that I would really like it if these things that were killing my friends and hurting my loved ones would stop being marketed as safe legal highs. That would be really cool. I would appreciate that. Imagine what kind of cold-hearted bastard you got to be to trade lives and health for money, other people's lives and health for your money, right? Not the other way around. Because these people have got to know what they're doing is dangerous. Like there's zero chance that they don't know. They're either putting it out of mind or they just don't care. One of the two. And Shannon Smith, that is a perfect example of the draw versus legal cannabis. You can't use because of your job. That's a great example right there. Someone in your position that was an avid cannabis smoker would probably be tempted to try spice, which I highly advise you do not do. Yeah, it's just not good for you. So, I mean, most drugs aren't necessarily good for you, right? But this one is particularly bad. Unregulated, varies batch to batch, and I've firsthand seen terrible, terrible things happen to people smoking it. My boyfriend was smoking a spice a decade ago when he had his car accident that paralyzed him. It's a miracle he's alive. Oh my lord! Hope between the dreams. I'm so sorry to hear that. Paralyzed him, huh? Car accident and paralyzed, and for some reason in my head, the picture I saw is like smoking while driving. That reminded me of I don't know if that's what was going on or not, but I had friends growing up that would do whippets while driving. Like how crazy, how stupid do you got to be, right? I would not get in that car. Imagine losing consciousness while driving. That sounds fun. Let's do that. That sounds really fun. Millie the Dandelion says, I'm not proud of my drug career, as someone once referenced it as, but I feel like it was so much safer back then. It definitely was. Definitely was. And there's levels to this stuff. It's getting increasingly more dangerous. And I hate to sound like the fire and brimstone preacher, like I'm just at church telling people, like, oh, you're going to go to hell. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do at all. But man, this stuff's dangerous. It's scary. It's affecting people close to me and probably you. So that's why it sounds like that. I hate to sound like some fire and brimstone guy, but um, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's happiness and joy and recovery and things as well, but these things also need to be talked about, and they just happen to be dark in nature. Cheryl Dow, hello, hello. Lacey Silver, welcome in. Millie didn't learn to drive until she was 30, just so I didn't have to worry about being high. That is hilarious. That's absolutely hilarious. I didn't get my driver's license until I was 18 or 19 or 20. It was a little late. But that was because my mom liked to hold things that I wanted over my head as leverage to get me to do what she wanted to do when I was a teenager. And it didn't work. So I that was one of the things that she held over my head. So I never got my driver's license until I was independent. And I shouldn't say that. I was living with my grandparents when I got it, with their help. So I don't know how I would have made it this far without people that love me. I have to say, um, this world is crazy, complicated, and for some reason, I find it very hard to understand a lot of things. And I'm not slow, right? I'm pretty smart, but I have to say, just the way that things work, the way that societal norms are, um, the way things are like societal expectations and things are super hard for me to understand sometimes. Um, so, like being shown the way was something that I desperately needed growing up, and even in adulthood, because I didn't really get a whole lot of guidance. I mean, my grandparents were definitely there for part of it, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm still learning things that I feel like I should have known. And it's interesting juxtaposition because I hear from the crew, from people in my direct vicinity a lot that um, they feel that I'm far along the path, or I know so much. And I have to say I constantly feel behind the ball. I definitely don't feel on top of it. I definitely constantly feel like I'm struggling to understand things that are just super basic for some people. But maybe that's just the difference between my strengths and weaknesses and yours. You know what I mean? Maybe that's just the difference in our uniqueness, right? I don't know, but it's curious. Curious, curious, curious tangent. Peta says there was a time when our government tried to ban synthetics like spice, listing the ingredients as illegal. We all know how that works out, right? The producers slightly changed the recipe, and that's probably exactly what's going on because the recipe has been changing, right? Over the years, using substances out of the illegal list. This is probably the main reason why the government's struggling to handle it. And that's one of the reasons it's so dangerous. If the ingredient list is constantly changing, what the heck am I buying, right? What the heck am I putting in my body, right? That's a little scary to think about. Whatever's not on the list, and I can get cheap. That's probably what the person's thinking. Who cares what it is? How cheap is it? And is it on the list? It's probably what he's thinking. Me too, Hope Between the Dreams. I'm grateful that you guys found each other. I read that above message. I just didn't want to read it out loud. It seemed like bad form. Sometimes I'll see a message that's like a continuation, a conversation I've been having with someone in the chat, and it doesn't feel like I should read that to the world. So sometimes I don't. That being said, I probably read it anyways in my head. Some people just don't ever want to drive, yet they get shamed by others always asking why. My sister just doesn't want to drive. Period. And I can understand that. The roadway is a crazy dangerous place. And most people that I see, I feel like I don't feel safe driving next to, right, on the road. So I can totally get behind that. And she's saving a lot of money, depending on how she's going about that. And yeah, if she doesn't need a car, why have one? Just more expenses, more responsibility. Kathy Keelan said, "My son told me that spice is a huge problem. in the last DOC facility he was at. For those that don't know, that means Department of Corrections, which is most likely jail or prison. And I think it's prison, but I'm not. I'm not the. I'm not the crim expert here. He said his pod was full of zombies from using that stuff, and I'm glad you brought this up. That's a very thought-provoking word, right? Zombies. It's terminology used in a lot of gangster rap as well when they're talking about crackheads. And you know why they call them zombies? I mean, it's pretty obvious if you've ever seen one stumbling around, passing out, standing up, stuff like that. What am I trying to get to with this? It's insane to me. So that's what crackheads look like when, they're super lit or they're down and out. Or, that's what hard drugs will do to someone. This is a weed substitute. It's marketed as a weed substitute. So this weed substitute is doing to people what hard years of hard drug use would do to people. I mean, it seems to be equally as dangerous to me, just based on that it's making people zombies. I never used it that much, right? I definitely could feel the difference over the small amount of time that I spent using it, though. It definitely felt like it was stupefying me. It felt like it was just taking my intelligence and throwing it right out the window. I will say that, I shouldn't say that. That glorifies it in a way. I was going to give you a counter argument, but that's not necessary here. Spice is an alluring name. That spice melange. Kevin Hawthorne, good morning. Welcome in, welcome in. Izzy E, yo, what's going on? Mrs. G, hello, hello. Have a great day, Charlie. I am pretty distractible. Shelly Kelly says my youngest is on the autism spectrum, almost 20, and no desire to drive. He is worried he would be too distracted. I have to say, I get quite distracted, and it's gotten me into accidents, to be honest. So I can totally understand that as well. The having a car is cool, right? It frees you up. It gives you a lot of freedom to do this, do that, go here, go there, transport this. Um, but at the same time, it's not necessary. It's a luxury. And I think that the more the world economy sinks, I think the more luxurious. I don't think the cars are going to be more luxurious, but they're going to become more of a luxury. You're going to see a lot less of them if we can't pull the nose up. Or you'll just see a lot older ones being fixed up like some other countries. I love driving sticks, Sarah. It's one of my favorite things in the world. I would love a manual vehicle one day. I've never owned one. No, yeah, I never owned one. I'm glad you're doing much better, Izzy. Body illusion, what's going on? Good to see you. How's your boy? How is your boy? Weren't we supposed to text the other day? Oh yeah, that's right. I have not been to the mailbox. I don't have the key. I didn't realize that I needed the key again. I forgot about the key. So we're gonna attempt again today. Let's see if I can get my hands on it. Um, Body illusion, I do owe you a phone call or an email. So I will not drop the ball on that today, I promise. I'm glad that I saw you and thought provoking starts reminding me of all the things that I need to do. Scrolling, scrolling. My wallet begs to differ on Freedom with a Car, says Izzy. Definitely more expensive. But I mean, you can drive here, drive there, transport this, transport that. It's kind of neat, but it does cost money. And it's, you got more responsibility. Mixed Bag of Donuts says, I'm guessing you're not supposed to hallucinate when you're smoking a little weed. Unfortunately, it happened twice. I have also hallucinated on weed. Um, and I think in my particular case, it was due to weed interacting with my ADHD medications, which I was on quite the concoction at the time. I've also had such a low tolerance and smoked such potent weed that it seems like I'm hallucinating. Maybe I am hallucinating. So, I mean, it definitely is possible at the very, very, very extreme end of the spectrum. But it's definitely not like a common thing. Matrix Rabbit, what is going on? Welcome in. How you feeling today? I'm glad to hear that, Body Illusion. I'm really, really happy. Doesn't he live by me? Maybe we should hang out. Maybe we should make friends. Lacey, I'm so sorry to hear that. I have to imagine that if I was in his shoes, I wouldn't um, have a desire to drive either. Good Lord, you know? Good Lord. Speaking of Lord, I haven't seen Lord Kiss Freak in a while. I hope he's doing well. Shout out to my Lord Kiss Freak. I'm sure he's well, working hard at his new job with his big, big toys. Man, miss that guy. Let's see what else I got for synthetics. Maybe we could talk a little bit about Kratom. Delta 8. So let's touch on Delta 8 for a second. So we were talking about synthetics, right? Fake drugs. Um, Delta 8 is a naturally occurring cannabinoid in weed. So technically it's natural, organic even. But I will say, since it's being marketed and sold very, very similar to the way that K2 is being sold, it's not chem spray. It's not chemicals sprayed on plants, though. This is weed, actual buds that they've taken and soaked in acid I don't know the exact chemical composition of what they put it in, but it's acid. And the objective is to change the chemical, so to separate the chemicals and to get, I believe, the delta 8, right? To either float to the top or separate in some way so that they can gather 100% pure delta 8. So, because of the process, because they're soaking it in acid or whatever the heck they're doing, there are precious metals left over afterwards. There have been nickel, copper, magnesium. There's been a bunch of precious metals found in dangerous quantities in Delta 8 weed, and it's from the process that they use to extract the delta 8. And I imagine that the reason that they use the process they use is because it's the most cost efficient. They can mass produce delta 8 weed by putting a bunch of it into large vats of this solution. I imagine that's the draw, right? I imagine that's why it's making them money. But it's dangerous for consumers because I'm I didn't I didn't sign up to smoke acid bath weed. You know what I mean? And that reminds me of, like, there used to be a formaldehyde thing. They would soak weed in embalming fluids. I was never around for that. That didn't happen in my day or in my circles at least. But that kind of reminds me of that, doesn't it? Is that what you want? You want to buy gas station weed that was bathed in some sort of chemical solution? I don't want that. Not even to mention the precious metals that are damaging to your body. Millie the Dandelion has a great idea. See, this is why I used to garden, so to speak, winky face. Knew what I was growing and knew there was no nasties. This is if you are adamant on smoking, this is the only surefire way to know what you're getting. I've told this story a couple times before. When I was a teenager growing up in Southern California, I had some neighbors down the street that were a little older than me, and we smoked a lot together. They were my main connect basically for weed, and over time, where they would get stuff, what they would get, and how they would do business as far as weed was concerned changed a lot. At a certain point, when a lot of the states started to legalize and it became more of a business to grow and sell weed, um, they started telling me that they wouldn't buy weed that they didn't have a hand personally in growing. Right? If they didn't help with the crop, if they if they weren't on the property, if they weren't if they didn't have a personal hand in growing it, they weren't buying it because of all the funny business. Funny business being like, let's say you have a bunch of money into this huge crop, and then you get bugs, mites, you get some sort of plant disease on your crop, right? So now you're standing to lose all that money. So what do? Well, you take some spray and you bug spray and you kill all the bugs. Your weed's not as good, right? But it's still going to make money. You're still going to sell it. So that happens, um, as well as all this other stuff we're talking about, right? So really, the only surefire way to guarantee you know what you're smoking is to grow it yourself. And I'm not advocating for people to grow weed. It's illegal in a lot of places. I'm not advocating for you to smoke weed. We're just talking about facts here. We're just, we're breaking it down. We're breaking it down. Oh, Kathy Kewen, thank you so much. 5 lifeboat memberships. You're amazing. Thank you. Dawn Gloves, good to see you. Going into work early for a meeting. Good luck with your meeting, Dawn. May you be blessed with unending patience um, and serenity today. Sarah Browett says, got to go as it's bedtime. My Thursday AM, wishing everyone 11111 and sunshine on your day. Thank you, Sarah. I hope you get some nice shut eye. And we'll see you tomorrow night, but tomorrow morning for me. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us, Sarah. It was a pleasure, and it's always a pleasure. Saw Lord Kiss Freak the other day on Wages World, says Jane. He sent Mark some amazing images of the Northern Lights from his northern location. Really amazing colors. Sweet deal. Yeah, he's quite the photographer. He sends me photos sometimes as well, and he does a damn good job, I have to say. Deidre Gore says, hi all, rough day. Anxiety is winning today, but I know it will pass. Moving countries is a little rough. Wow, you're moving. Where are you moving to, Deidre? And also, ones. I'm going to put some ones up for Deidre and anyone else who could use them, and for Sarah. Yeah, that's right, Izzy. It's harm reduction. We're informing people on safer practices as well as the danger in the dangerous practices. Izzy E also says we're trying to save lives. We can't aim for perfection, just informing and helping one another as much as and as best as we can. That's right. There's really only one way to do this thing. And there are some aspects of it that are less than ideal. But the only way to go is forward, I have to say. There are, and the more I think about it, maybe there's some way that I can change, fix, improve the platform or how we do this. But um, there are definitely some aspects of how we do what we do here that make it hard to do what we do. But it also seems to me to be the only way to keep doing it. So, that being said, we are definitely all doing our best, and we are shooting for perfection, but we're not going to be perfect. I mean, I'm trying to be better than I was yesterday. Maybe we're not shooting for perfection, just a little better. From South Africa to Ireland. Wow, what a move. Very good move, but anxiety is inevitable, of course. And I imagine you probably have a lot of stuff that you're moving, and that's quite the distance. What prompted you to move to Ireland, Deidre? Got some friends, family out there? Just a little change, new chapter. Wow, this new French press that Shannon got me, thank you, Shannon, is it really keeps the coffee hot. I just poured another cup, and what was in my cup had gotten quite lukewarm. This stuff's still piping. Still piping. Still piping. Well, guys, I don't have a whole lot more to say on Spice and K2 or synthetics. I guess I could talk about Kratom for a little while. Let's see. Let's see. It certainly fits the bill as far as like serving a legal loophole that, obviously opioids are illegal or need a prescription for. And if you're trying to use it for that stimulant aspect with a different dose size, then you most likely need a prescription for your stimulants as well. Brand and model, Captain. Oh my gosh. Thesecura.com. Oh, it's right there on the bottom. Secura. And it's the bigger one. I always forget numbers and stuff. Oh, mom, don't fall down. It's the bigger one. Yeah, there's two sizes. It's the bigger one. I love my 1950s Pyrex percolator, but it doesn't keep the coffee hot for long. My friend TC was telling me I should get a AeroPress. It should help with my tummy and other things, she was telling me. I may look into that. I intended to look into it already and just never did. I get distracted. Sometimes I get like tunnel in on things. Like I'll finish with the boat and I'll just like, all right, I'm doing this. And I'll do that all friggin' day. I'll do a really good job at doing that one thing. And then sometimes I can't keep my attention to save my life. Um, it's like I bounce back and forth. It's super interesting and weird. But I'm in the middle of a focus with a laser vision period swing. I don't know what else to call that. Waking up and getting the blurry out of my eyes. Wart and Fissel, welcome in. Hope I'm not too loud for you, but good morning, sir. Glad you're here. South Africa's infrastructure is failing and there is over 30% unemployment, plus insane crime. Ireland is the most logical place for us since the UK lost their minds with Brexit. I'm not entirely familiar with Brexit, but I imagine um, it's related to the riots. Means we're going to have to start paying to visit Europe. Withdrawal of the United Kingdom from the European Union. Okay, I get it. British exit. I get it. I get it. It's fun. That's creative. I'm reading about it now. Wow. So you're not happy about that. Interesting. You would prefer the UK. You would prefer Britain to be under the European Union. Why is that? Maybe I shouldn't ask that question. Maybe we shouldn't have this conversation here, but it's definitely something I want to learn about. I want to know both sides of the argument, why did they Brexit, right? Why did they secede from the European Union, and why is that an unpopular decision with some people? I think that there's definitely two defined perspectives. Most likely more than that, obviously. I think that there's always at least three perspectives, three sides to a story. But that's very curious. I didn't know that. I did not know that at all. I can tell you exactly what I'll be learning about today. Ireland is a thriving country, says ASAP. Brexit hurt me. Happy to answer questions, Spanx. Well, I would like to ask them here, but I don't know the possible implications of the answers to my questions because I don't have any perspective. So I'm going to go ahead and wait until I do a little bit of research because I don't want to um, irrevocably change the flow of this stream, which that may, I mean, I may have already done. Honestly, we'll see. Karen Hall, welcome in. First off, Karen Hall says my son is bipolar. Which comes first, the manic or the drug use? It seems being manic brings on the drug use. I will say, um, the manic depressive thing, if that's something that he has, he was most likely born with it. And the drug thing is something that he found along the way. And the drug thing is probably something that makes him feel some modicum of normal. Some in some way makes him feel more normalcy in his life. Um, I also imagine that uh, being bipolar is probably quite uncomfortable, especially if he's not managing it well. You know, if it's not being treated or managed properly, I'm sure it's very uncomfortable. I'm sure that he gets himself in situations that he's like, oh wait, I don't want to be here. You know, I think that because I have some tendencies of this nature, and I can relate with this. I don't think that either of them bring on the other. I think that they kind of feed into each other for sure. The drugs are not good for like a stable mood or a stable perspective. They're definitely going to antagonize the waves, right? But at the same time, those waves are, they're uncomfortable to navigate. It's very, very uncomfortable to like be feeling very intensely one way or the other and not know why, or like to be really happy and then all of a sudden all that's gone and now I'm really depressed, right? So I imagine that the drug use is something that he's using to augment how he's feeling, right? But I think that the bipolar was something that was just came equipped with his package. Um, so the answer is to educate yourself or have him educate himself on bipolar. Probably both of y'all, learn as much as he can on what's going on inside of him, and then learn like choose a path forward. There's not just one path forward with stuff like that, right? There's multiple avenues, but I will say the street drug use is not going to help. It's only going to hurt, and that's coming from experience. Scooby Lee, Calhoun, I'm bipolar 2 and definitely think I've had it since a child. And the fact that until I was an adult and able to get my own doctors, I was ignored is part of why I used, amongst other things. Right here. It's a great example. Um, and I'm sorry to hear that that's your story, Scooby. I guess we all have our path, right? We all have our story to tell. I'm glad you're here with us, Scoob, and I'm glad you found a way, some way, somehow. Scooby Lee also says, for example, I use marijuana when I feel down and it brings me up. But bipolar people must be careful using it since it can make you manic. Curious, curious, curious. Absolutely, Karen. If you have any other questions, feel free to email me at sober@myahoo.com or hit me in the chat here in the comment section afterwards. Also, while we're talking about the comment section, hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications. If you like what we do here, it certainly makes a difference. Is Spice different from K2? Found out my sister's using. Glitter Ella, thank you so much for I don't, pardon me, I'm speaking wrong. Member for 5 months. That's awesome. Heck yeah, looking great in green. Spice and K2 are the same thing. They're just different slang terms for the same drug. And I will say, if you're looking for continuity, like in a timeline, like Spice and or K2 have been a different chemical composition over the years, right? Because the government's trying to ban or outlaw the ingredients they're using to make this dangerous synthetic drug. The makers of this dangerous synthetic drug will change the ingredients so that they can continue to make a profit while hurting the people that we love. So that being said, the spice and K2, like those words refer to the same drug, but the drug itself has evolved and changed massively over the years because of, dodging legalities and such. So what your sister's smoking is probably most likely definitely not what I was smoking, right? It's still spice and K2. Both of them are spice and K2, but because I was smoking spice many years ago, and it sounds like your sister's using now, um, definitely different chemicals being ingested, which is scary, right? It's a scary thought. I love this. Why is marijuana being used as a beard? It's pretty sad. And, it's most likely because we don't understand as a society and also like as like a people, as a race, like the human race, we don't understand how to deal with addiction properly, just as a rule in general. And also because it's not just a US thing, right? Also, I don't think that the mix up in legalities help, and that is specific to this country. I'm not certain about laws in other countries and whatnot, but the fact that weed's federally illegal, but also has variable legal standing in all the states, that makes it like that. That is problematic. How could that not be problematic? I mean, what it really comes down to as well, that in itself is because the purpose of the government is to like back up the states if they need help and kind of like oversee the overarching stuff. But the states are supposed to be sovereign and have their own say on their own stuff. And if you look at when the United States started to now, over time, the government has gotten bigger, and bigger, and the states have gotten less autonomous, less autonomous, and less autonomous to the point where state law is literally subservient to federal law. And I mean, that's technically the hierarchy, but federal law shouldn't be trumping state law every day. That shouldn't be a regular occurrence, right? They should be in the background. That was the purpose. That was the structure. That was the way it was set up. So now that it's not even clear like who has the final say. Obviously the federal government has the final say, right, because they're the big boss, but like that's not how the constitution's written, right? That's not how our entire system was structured. So basically like they built a staircase and now there's a bunch of space under the stairs. Now there's like a huge loophole. There's a bunch of space that they can do whatever they want inside of, or people, anybody really. That was a weird metaphor, but it popped into my head. Chamomile and valerian will do that, Wharton, I have to say. How you feeling this morning? You groggy at all? Are you groggy? My G's this morning are having a hard time coming out. Groggy. 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 Okay. First grade, learning to speak. I guess that's not first grade, that's like preschool. Anyways, Glitterella, do you not have a five? I feel like I've seen you in here before. Um, and I feel like it would be really easy for you to make some friends in here. Lily Benjamin, greetings, Spanx, and to all for a lovely day. Thank you. Good to see you. Welcome in. Also, Glitter, we have a Discord and a Facebook page for community activities, for discussion, for meeting up with people. Um, if you really are in need of a five, which I mean everyone should have a five. So if you don't have a five, I would recommend you head over to the Facebook page or the Discord and see if you can make some friends over there. And I think you'll find it very hard to not find people that you relate with. I think that there's something that we all have in common, and it's that we've walked quite the path. So I think you're bound to run into someone, hopefully five someones, right? That you can relate with, that you can get along with, and that is the makings of the five. Unfortunately, I can't just like assign fives to people and stuff like that, right? You guys have to go out and make it happen a little bit by yourself. But I mean, this is good because that's probably the easiest part of recovery is going to be meeting people, making friends, because you really don't have to try too hard. Just insert yourself in social situations and then participate. Um, but I mean, you're going to need to do a lot of legwork on this recovery journey. So this is just a taster. If I can help you, please let me know, Glitterella. Dale Cox says, Spanx just got back. How do you like the tincture? You know, Dale, I realized yesterday that I don't have the key to that mailbox, and my aunt does, and she was on a trip. So I have to try and locate the key and see if I can try that again today. I have not tried it yet. Sorry, Dale. It will happen soon. Good night, Helena. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for a dreamless sleep. My dad takes cannabis gummies for nightmares. I don't know if that's something that, could help you. I don't know if that's what you're dealing with, but just a thought that popped into my head, Helena. I'm so glad to hear that, Tina Marie. That means this thing's working. That right there. I am at the point I can be in someone's five now. I'm so proud of you, Tina. And it may be tempting to jump in with both feet, but I encourage you to take baby steps. It is quite rewarding helping people, right? Doing service, but it's really easy to get in too deep, right? So, you know, just keep that in mind. Baby steps. You're doing great. Keep doing what you're doing. Have no fear. Have no fear. Yeah, Duster will do that. Duster will definitely do that. Adrian, welcome in. It's funny. No need to apologize. I'm happy that you showed up. It's funny though because I am about to shut it down. You have impeccable timing, sir. But no, regardless, I'm glad you're here. Hello, hello. Maybe you'll be on the replay crew, huh? Yeah, guys, hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications if you like what we do here. It certainly makes a difference. Thanks for coming in. I had a lot of fun talking about synthetics with you guys today. Now, just in conclusion, some takeaways. Um, Synthetic drugs like spice, like kratom, and to some extent delta 8 tetrahydrocannabinol have entered the scene to take advantage of legal loopholes in order to make money, right? So the whole purpose of these products And you can tell by looking. I wouldn't compare anything to pharmacy marketing or like the pharmaceutical industry marketing advertisements or anything like that, because I mean they're evil anyways, right? But if you compare the way that these substitutes are marketed with any other advertising really that's not pharmaceutical, it's really obvious, right? This is to make money. They are more interested in making money than your health. That's the main objective, right? And that's because of the legalities. That being said, it is not super important to the people making this stuff to do it healthily, to do it in a way that's not going to harm you. In fact, I don't think that there was ever a version of spice that was harmless, right? I think it came out the gate bad and just got worse and worse and worse over the years as they had to change the ingredients to dodge the legalities. Um, in conclusion, these things were not created to help you. They were created to make money. So just from that perspective, it's really really hard to believe in them. But I mean, the important bit here is that they're dangerous. As far as the Delta 8 goes, the process for which they get pure Delta 8, they are using real weed. But what they're doing to the real weed to make it pure Delta 8 is dangerous. Very, very dangerous. K2 is just dangerous. And I hear a lot of things on both sides about Kratom. Some people swear by it, and some people have told me horror stories akin to the spice stories. So I don't really know what to believe as far as the Kratom is concerned. Um, I'm content to just not use it myself, and let people do what they do. Obviously, I'm not in control of folks, but I don't. It's hard for me to form into a biased opinion on kratom because I can see both sides. And who am I to tell people what to do with their life? If you don't want to live that life, then don't. Right? If you don't want to live that life, then we can talk about you know ways to substitute, ways to harm reduce with the kratom or something like that, right? But that being said, that's pretty much all I have for you today. Stay away from synthetics, y'all. I hope you have a great day. It is Wednesday. It is the hump day. Let's get over that hump. And before you know it, it'll be the weekend, and we'll be basking in the glory of the sunshine of the weekend again. You guys have a great day, all right? Nicola E., I see you. Threw away 4 jumbo bags. Wow. Let's go. Let's go. Heck yeah, guys. Mr. Brownstone, I see you. Welcome in. Good to see you. All right, guys. I think that is it. I'll see you in the comment section, see you in the emails, and see you tomorrow. Captain Calhoun out. What is that? Dirty finger.